Oh, we'll put a pin in it because our guest is here. See how we did that?
Yeah.
See how easily we did that? Let him click in. Look at him. He's looking so debonair. Styling and profiling. Can you hear us, sir?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Awesome. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Oh, phenomenal. Had a trip to gymnastics with the ladies. Uh, tomorrow is dressed like a Dr. Seuss inspired character at my kids' school. I have 3 daughters, and so they're upstairs. It sounded like they were either doing a promo battle or having tantrums because it's just like putting the pressure. Hold on, let me make sure she's not down here. She usually shows up. I have one daughter gets very anxious over this aspect of theme week at her school. So when it says dress up or do this or wear this, she really stresses over it. So I hate it personally. Being in the school system myself, I don't like it, but whatever. Happy birthday, Dr. Seuss. Jerk. Anyways, thank you for giving us your time tonight. I'm glad we could reschedule, and it's awesome. I'm excited. I'm pumped about it.
I am as well. I apologize about last week. I had extenuating circumstances, but I'm glad that we were able to come back on this week.
Yeah. Look at his phone's blowing up already. That is probably Ric Flair.
I wish.
Old
Richard Flair.
The old Richard. Hey, what's up? I don't have a good Ric Flair impression.
Don Ricardo.
Only have Macho.
Well, you know.
Happens.
Not everybody does.
Not everybody does. I don't really know where I want to start with this. It's interesting because you are TikTok royalty, I guess, in the world of wrestling content. And you re-downloaded the app in January after deleting it in, I think, April. What made you do that?
Well, I deleted the app because I thought that it was gonna get me on a watch list because they're like,
well, true.
You know, you get on the TikTok, and immediately you see like teenage girls dancing. You're like, oh god, this is gonna get me in trouble. Like, I don't need to be out in public with this. Somebody sees me watching this, they're gonna say, this guy, 20 feet away, please do not move into my school district. That kind of stuff. So I was just like, this isn't for me. But I end up getting it again when the pandemic started, and a buddy of mine was like, hey, you know, they do comedy and all this other stuff, so you might want to check it out. And so I finally got it again, and I saw what they were talking about, and I've been on ever since. And it's, you know, it's been extremely beneficial for me. I'm very thankful for that.
I'll tell you from a personal standpoint, I believe I also jumped on the TikTok during the pandemic. I was told, get on. There's a lot of wrestling stuff on there. And I was like, no, that app is stupid. My kids have it, and all they do is dance to 30 seconds of songs that I can't stand. But I ended up getting it in a bet. My kids said that I could not get more followers than them. And so that's how I got on. But speaking of your TikTok personally, it would bring a smile to my face every time you showed up on my, I would assume, For You page or maybe my following page. I don't know the difference. But every time I would see it come up, being in the school system myself, I was like, man, this is solid gold. And I know that with the population I work with, wrestling is a big thing. So if you can relate with the kids, like wrestling wise, there's a lot of boys where I am. They love you. they're like, how do you know wrestling? You know about John Cena? You know about the Undertaker? Like, yeah. So I'd see you show up, and it'd bring a smile to my face after a rough day at work.
Yeah, it's TikTok is a release.
Yeah.
It's an escape to get away from a lot of stuff. And that's part of the reason why I ended up getting on it on the first place, is because there were a lot of people when the pandemic first started who were in their house, in their home. They didn't have anything to do. They were bored. They were alone. They were struggling with just so many different issues, both physically and emotionally. And they wanted a way to get away. And my videos were a way to get away, because a lot of them are wrestling related, but a good number of them are related to music and comedy and teaching. And it's just a way to enjoy and smile and have fun and get away from a lot of different stuff. So it's just it's cool to be able to be that safe space for people who were really looking for that kind of getaway then and now.
Oh, for sure. I was just watching some of your recent ones with my kids before I showed my wife, who was coming on the show tonight, and one of them was it was titled "When You Catch Your Students Lying," and you were spelling out CAP, CAP.
Yeah.
And I laughed so hard because one of my students uses the word cap, says it a lot, also calls his other teachers Karens, and I called him right out. I was like, I know what that is. I know what cap is. I know what a Karen is. You're not fooling me. I just thought it was amusing. It was fun. I found out you obviously professor, teacher, work in the system. You're now the dean of students. You did ELA. Correct me if I'm wrong. You were doing ELA, which also, at least in my experience, all students hate. Nobody likes to do ELA. But you were doing it in a Randy Macho Man Savage impression.
Oh yeah. It's what's cool about it for me is, when I was in the classroom, I was able to use all these different devices and ways to engage my students. And as an educator, that's one of the main things you want to do. You want to engage your students. You want to keep them involved with what's going on. You want to keep them interested in the lesson. And if you find a way to connect with them, then they'll be interested and they'll be enthralled and they'll want to stick with it. One way I was able to keep them interested and enthralled was through professional wrestling with some of them. There were some who could have cared less. So you had to find other ways to engage with them through music, through laughter, through popular culture. You find your way to relate the lesson to them to make them more interested in what you're talking. So, and as an administrator, it has helped that I'm on social media, more specifically TikTok, because the students, being at a junior high, the students see that and they're like, "Wait,
hold up,
you're verified?
Hold up,
like how did these are teenagers?
Yeah,
they're like, how did you do that? Like, put me in a video. How much money are you making? They're asking questions every day.
Yeah.
And they're interested in what we're talking about every day. So but it's part of the reason why I've kept my content clean and wholesome.
Yeah.
No cursing, no innuendo, no bad stuff, because, I know who's watching and I know the responsibilities that I have as an educator. But that doesn't mean that I can't have fun.
Yeah.
And that's a great way to lead by example as well, to show the kids you don't have to do all of this stuff that you see your favorite rappers and comedians doing all the time in order to be successful. There are other ways to do it.
Yeah. And that leads to one of the things you have said on previous podcasts. You don't really consider yourself TikTok famous, although you are royalty, but you're using that for good, and that literally is one of the reasons right there. You're leading by example. You're teaching the kids that you don't need to, be all what does Suge Knight say? Be all dancing in the videos. So I love that. That's great. Because I was gonna ask.
Still dance. I dance terribly, but I still.
You still do it?
I dance terribly, but I still dance.
I was gonna ask. I was like, because I was doing a live TikTok. I don't know. I was watching one of the pay-per-views or whatever, and I was doing it, and I recognized the girls on my daughter's, the girls on my softball team, ages 13, 14, 15, whatever they are. They start coming in, and I notice them. And I personally was uncomfortable with it. I didn't know how to handle it. I literally went upstairs and told my wife, I go, you got to get him out of there. You got to get him out. And so that was going to be my question. It was going to be like, if you do a live and they show up, what's that like?
It's weird.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Because the majority of the time when you have a student that shows up live, they're just wanting to get a shout out.
Yeah.
So they're basically they're trying to. One of the craziest things while being an educator and doing this whole social media thing is that these kids see that you have clout and are either upset with you because you have it and they don't, or they're like, let me get some of that.
Yeah.
So if they get into your live, the majority of the time it's like, hey, Mr. Harrison, because they want you to recognize them in the live and say their username. Yeah. Like, shout me out in your live.
Yeah.
So a lot of times it'll be like, hey, it's good to see you. I won't even say their name. It's like, hey, how are you?
I see you.
Thanks for coming to the live. And they are just not
happy. And I agree. I agree with that. And it was interesting. That's kind of the same way I felt. But I was like, oh, my wife, I was like, gotta get him out. I'm like, I'm watching Impact Wrestling and I can't curtail myself. But anyways, speaking of this platform, like wrestling related, which is why we wanted to have you on, and you work in the school system, so that made me extremely happy as well. And you have a whole 90s vibe. There's a whole 90s aspect I want to get to. Like, I heard you on the Graps podcast, the Island one. And I think you had said Lauryn Hill, Miseducation was the album you wanted to take with you. I think that's the one you picked out. And you're like, oh, I fell in love with Lauryn Hill with the Fugees. And I was just like, oh, crap, that's so great. I just relate so well with that as well. But I want to go back to how you fell in love with wrestling, because it's portrayed through your TikToks how much you love it. And so I'm gonna take you back. I'm gonna sit you on. I'm gonna put you in your diaper. I'm gonna sit you on the floor of your uncle's place, his humble abode, and I'm gonna put on NWA wrestling. Who catches your eye?
Who doesn't?
Yeah.
If we're talking about NWA, of course the Four Horsemen jump right out at you. You gotta love Lex Luger and Sting and the Road Warriors, Dusty Rhodes, Magnum TA, the Freebirds, Nikita Koloff. The list just goes on and on and on when you go back to because I'm from the South. I'm from Louisiana. So the NWA back during those times was it for me. That's what I was watching all the time. And to see though, Hot Stuff Eddie Gilbert and just oh man. It's just I can't we'll be here all night.
Right.
Talking about the NWA and all of the fantastic people that really just jump off of the screen at you. If you want like one person in particular, for me, the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. Just the relatability of him, but I was always a big fan of the guys who were really good talkers, the guys who were good on the stick.
Yeah.
And you're not going to find too many that are better than Dusty Rhodes, living on the end of a lightning bolt. So there were so many though that really just catch your eye from that era and that generation that I just love dearly. So yeah, there's a bunch.
And there was a plethora of phenomenal promos back at those times down south. And like you said, you're from Louisiana. You went to Grambling. Grambling. Grambling State or Grambling?
Grambling State.
Grambling State. Yes. Thank you very much. At that time, like Grambling is a badass. It's like the mecca of I remember the mecca of sports. So there was what was his name? The coach.
Eddie Robinson.
Eddie Robinson. Did they have Doug Williams too? Was he their quarterback at one time? Yeah, went on to win a Super Bowl with the Redskins or Washington Redskins then. Now
the Commanders.
The Commanders.
The Washington football team.
Yeah. I wanted them to stay with the football team, but that's
football team is a fantastic name.
I loved it. It was like soccer. So
yeah.
You're at Grambling State in the 80s. Great going there for acting. We'll get to some of that. But what you really learned back then were eFeds, promos, tape trading, and I don't know, ECW maybe.
A little bit of that, yeah.
A little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yeah. Well, I grew up there during the 80s and started going to school there late 90s. Yeah. And around that time is when I discovered eFeds, yes, yeah. And ECW and ROH and all of that good stuff. Trading tapes with your friends, living the Monday Night Wars with my buddies that I'm in school with. There's just so many memories revolving around professional wrestling during that time, which was really just a great day and age for professional wrestling. So I really did. It was really good for me to come up during that time because my love of professional wrestling was just nurtured and it grew and blossomed. And it has continued to grow over my 41 years of life. And it will continue to grow for the next however long God decides he wants me on this earth. Sure. So it has really been just a great journey for me. But that time was extremely important and special in, my love of professional wrestling.
Is that where you ran into the innovator, Chris Wells, in college?
Yeah, that's when I was, I want to say a sophomore in college. That was the first eFed character that I ever developed. Yeah. That's when we were doing it on the message boards, like old fogies.
Straight. Some forums.
Yeah, we were just typing it out. Yeah, just on the forums and the message boards. GeoCities. Anybody remember GeoCities?
Run those simulators. Let's go.
Oh yeah, man. That's where it was, and it really. I will never forget those times. And Chris Wells will always be, will hold a special place in my heart as the first. That was me living vicariously through a character. And it's the first time I ever had to develop a gimmick, I guess you could say. Yeah. And I really did. That's something that I'll always hope, because it's during a time where my love of professional wrestling was really nurtured and allowed to grow.
It's hard for me to explain to people at that time, like how big eFeds were. it's hard to relate that with younger wrestling fans today. Like, I mean, yeah, you get your custom WWE 2K leagues and that type of stuff. You have stuff going on TikTok with the NGTTF. I think that's the moniker.
But yeah, it was NGTTWF. Is now it's just NGT.
NGT, yeah.
Next Gen Talent. And make sure you follow them on TikTok if you're on TikTok. It's just really good stuff. I think I'm going to be doing some stuff with them in the coming weeks, leading up to TikTokamania 2.
Oh, TikTokamania 2.
So that's going to be a lot of fun getting back into that. I'm not going to be in any matches, but I will be involved in some way. And it's cool to be able to go back to do that kind of stuff on TikTok. I'm still fed in one place, and on Facebook, it's the only place that I do it because it's still in me. I still got the magic.
You got to let it out somehow.
I gotta let it out somehow. So I still got a little fire left in me. So yeah.
Wow, TikTokamania 2. I didn't even know there was a 1.
Yeah, it was pretty cool, man. There was I can't even count how many matches there were last year. It was crazy. Giving so many of these young kids the opportunity to participate in something like fun. Even had I think I want to say that my match at TikTok Mania was judged by Mikey O'Shea.
Okay.
If you're into the wrestling community on TikTok, you know exactly who Mikey O'Shea is. And E-Feds have given me the opportunity to work with a lot of guys that you see either in indie promotions or on TV now, who spent a little bit of time doing it. Like who was it? JD Drake, who's in AEW now, and there's one more guy, Chris Bay, who wasn't doing it, but he knew a guy who was, and he did a little something. He cut a promo on me about a year ago, which was just really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, just having those opportunities to interact with people like that is just really cool. So yeah.
So all this TikTok royalty led you to appearing on the bump. And so how did that come about? What did they email you? What did they just DM you?
Well, I was in classes doing testing and that kind of stuff. We were in the middle of doing state testing.
Okay.
And as that happened, the kids knew that I was successful on TikTok, and so they started asking if they could, can we do this? Can we do this video? Can we do this? Can we do that? And I said, sure. So we did one of me entering the classroom as the Undertaker, or like the Undertaker.
Yeah.
Saying, if the Undertaker gave an assessment, gave a test. And the kids really loved it. It did really well on TikTok, but that was the one that got me noticed by the WWE. And they started following me on TikTok, and they sent me a message asking if I would like to come on the bump. And we had to kind of work through dates to hammer down a time where I could come on, because I still had my sorry.
That's all right.
I'm still watching NXT.
I am too. I still Triple threat match next week. Yeah, see, it's right here. Yeah. See?
There you go. See, there you go.
Yeah.
I still had
it's in our blood. Gotta watch it.
I still had. That's great. There it is. Communications as an instructor to deal with at the school, and I had conferences that I had to go to. Which, when I was on the bump, I was for a teaching conference, but I'm carving out a little time to appear on the show. And it was guys like Ryan Papala, who I've still had a good connection with and continue to talk to for a good little while. Ryan and Matt Camp and Evan, who I don't think is on the show anymore. Kayla wasn't on that day, but I was still able to talk to her as well later eventually.
Yeah.
And it's just be able to continue to connect with those guys because anytime I'm like off on a Wednesday, I'm getting up early to watch the bump, and I'm interacting and tweeting, and they're posting my tweets as I'm watching and all that stuff. It's just really cool to have that kind of connection with it.
I think as we see Carmelo Hayes versus Pete Dunne here for the North American championship, I believe it's I wanted you on this show that far back because I remember saying to Vanessa, when I saw you appear in the bump, I was like, oh well, there goes our chances. So it's cool. It's awesome that gets that hard work and passion gets recognized. But since we are both watching NXT in today's product, first of all, I'm just gonna jump right to NXT 2.0. How do you feel about this switch from the black and gold to what we're seeing now with NXT 2.0?
I love it.
Yeah, me too.
I've loved it from the beginning because it goes back to the roots of it being developmental. Yeah. Black and gold was looked at as the third brand, and that put a lot of expectation on the people who were there. What WWE needs to do, as far as longevity is concerned, is to develop their own stars.
Yep.
Not continuously pull from the independents and get guys who are already established somewhere else to come in to kind of train them up to put them on the main roster, which it worked for some of the guys who are there now. You know, your Seth Rollins,
yeah,
formerly Tyler Black, of course. Yeah. Even though he's not there anymore, you're John Moxley, your Finn Balor's, your Kevin Owens, your Sami Zayn, guys who were already established somewhere else, but then came over to NXT and were bred to go to the main roster. And now you've got people who you're bringing in and training to become your next stars of tomorrow. And I think that it's a great thing that they're doing for the future of the company. And you already see guys like Braun Breaker,
yeah,
who have the potential to just be absolute superstars. So I love what they're doing, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for it.
I am on that same page. I think people aren't giving it a chance, and that's disappointing because it is really good. And they are building their stars. I'm interested. So we know Gable Stevenson, top U.S. wrestling Olympian, signed with the WWE. I'm interested to see what route they take with somebody of that nature. Do they put him through this system, or does he go straight up? I can't wait for it. I
would think that they put him in NXT.
Yeah.
With a lot of the guys that they brought in that were athletes, amateur wrestlers, football players, basketball players, especially with the NIL deal that they have done with a lot of the people, the recruits that they're bringing into NXT. It's just, it's going to be really cool to see exactly what they do with these young people as they bring them in and as they start to integrate them into NXT. So we already see what I'm interested to see what they're going to do with Draco Anthony with the way that things have started out for him and how that's going to continue to kind of grow over the next weeks and months.
One of my personal favorites, Sefa Fatu or Solo Sequoia. We just pronounced it earlier. What is Sefa Fatu?
Sequoia.
Sikoa, Solo Sikoa. Um, Great match tonight versus Walter. You are a big fan of the Roman storyline, the Roman and Jay match, specifically Hell in the Cell. Uh, how? Okay, let me see. How can I say? There's a couple questions I want to ask here. One, how do you think Solo will factor into the family? And two, who do you think dethrones Roman? Tough, right? Yeah.
As far as Solo Sikoa is concerned, I'm interested to see how he's going to integrate in with the Bloodline in that storyline and what they're going to do with him once they call him, because I think he still needs time before they even bring him up. So it won't be any, to me, I don't think it should be anytime soon that they bring Solo Sikoa up into the fold. As far as who dethrones Roman, I have no idea. I'm not even going to lie.
Yeah.
Because he is as dominant a champion as that company has seen in decades.
Yeah, I was just gonna say decades.
So it's hard to kind of picture somebody that's going to be able to take him out based on that.
Yeah.
So who is it? Is it somebody that you build up to take him down? Is it somebody who's already established as a big time talent? Is it Brock? Is Brock going to be the one to do it at WrestleMania?
Good question.
I mean, he's the guy who ended the Undertaker streak at WrestleMania. So right. He, if there's anybody who you would think could be the guy, it would be him. So I don't know. I'm not even going to sit here and try to venture a guess and try to make it seem like I'm this Nick Stradamus with predicting who could. In all honesty, I hope it just goes on for years to come. I want to see like a Bruno Sammartino kind of run for Roman, where it's like years at a time that he's the champion and nobody's able to take it down. But it's going to get boring for some folks after a while. For me, it'll never get boring. Like this guy just talk forever, Roman. This cameraman right here, this is my cameraman. Just do that forever. And you will have me entertained thoroughly.
And I think that's what's great about this is it's the story. It's the investment that we all have. I heard you talking on Graps, the Island podcast. Yeah, that's the name of it.
Desert Island Graps.
Desert Island Graps. Thank you. I heard you speaking about that Hell in the Cell match with Jay. And I remember watching that. And while I was watching it, I broke away into a different, I broke through the fourth wall and I was like, what the hell are you doing, Roman? I was literally what Jay was in the match, Jimmy came out literally saying, what are you doing? It was getting uncomfortable. The beatdown and the brutality in that match. And it was great.
I loved every second of it. I just had the biggest smile. And it's going to make me sound sadistic, and it's not because of the action.
Right.
It's because of the story. It's the story that's being told.
Yeah.
Like, if you watched what they were doing on a weekly basis on SmackDown, and then watched that match at Night of Champions, the first match between the two of them for the title, and then saw how that continued on into Hell in a Cell, and then adding Jimmy into it because of all of that. And then later Jimmy coming back and him doing almost the same thing. And then it didn't take him long to just go ahead and fall into the fold and acknowledge Roman. And so it just, with circumstances that happened outside of the ring, that kind of led to that happening, but that's neither here nor there. And then just it led to where we are now.
Yeah.
And I just love what they did with that, and I love what Roman is doing uh with what they're giving him. And it's just so cool, man. Just really cool. I am a fan.
I agree. I hope that there's a couple things I feel about it. I feel I want it to go for a while because I'm so invested. I also think they may get into a point where they're booking themselves into a corner where, like we said, who is gonna dethrone them? There's like a short list. I think everyone wants to see The Rock and Roman, but I don't think you need a title for that. I think that sells itself.
I don't know, man.
You don't want to see The Rock come back?
No, 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 I don't. I just don't.
What has me worried is the whole head of the table catchphrase. Like the head of the table. Like Roman's the head of the table.
Nothing against The Rock. I mean, I made a The Rock video on TikTok today. Nothing against The Rock. I love The Rock. God knows I love The Rock. As a matter of fact, I'm wearing my Rock socks right now. I love The Rock. Love The Rock. But no, we've seen it.
Yeah.
You did it with Cena. Yep. We've seen it. We've seen it. I'm good. I'm good. I love The Rock. Love The Rock. I'm good.
Every time I think I'm gonna start wrapping it up here, I think of two more things I want to say. Okay, so one, we know Vince McMahon is gonna be on Pat McAfee's show this week, Thursday, right to kick off the show. We know Tony Khan's announcing a big announcement on Wednesday as well. We've heard thoughts like what I feel something's brewing. I don't know what it is. There's rumors McMahon's getting in the ring. There's rumors McAfee's getting in the ring. There's rumors. I mean, there's rumors galore. Like AEW is bought Ring of Honor. There's Cody. Where do you stand on this? I'll start with the Vince interview with Pat.
Well, I think the Vince interview with Pat is going to be, to promote WrestleMania, but also possibly to set up something for McMahon. Vince is going to die in the ring.
He has said that.
Yeah. I'm just fairly convinced that he was not lying when he said that.
Yeah, I agree.
And it's going to be interesting to see what happens between he and Pat when he goes on the show. Maybe he'll pull in Aaron Rodgers and say that he was immunized. Moving on.
That was awesome.
That was awesome.
Sorry.
Moving along.
But no. There's no telling what Tony Khan is going to say, man. We already know that he's brought in Shane Swerve Strickland.
Yep.
So it's going to be. I can't wait to see what the debut is actually going to be. Maybe that's the big news for Wednesday. Maybe something's going to happen at Revolution, because it's quite possible they're going to wait for some of these debuts that are about to happen until Revolution on Sunday.
Yep.
You know, to make it, to give it more weight, because you don't want it to happen right before before that pay-per-view or right, so that'll be with Tony nowadays, you never know. We shall see.
We shall see. All right, my last thing, I promise, that I'm going to give you the mic. You can put over anything you want. Last thing, we have MJF and Punk. They're going through this great angle. They're going to have the dog collar match. Promo of the year, I suppose, from MJF last week on Dynamite, getting people to feel for him. Your thoughts on MJF?
MJF, even though he called my impersonation of him hot garbage, I adore Maxwell Jacob Friedman and his work, and I think that he is one of the best doing it today, especially on the mic. He is absolute gold. Uh, Promo of the year, quite possibly.
Maybe, yes.
I mean, it's still early.
Yeah.
It's March, baby.
A lot of
like
time left.
that was February. That was the second month in the year. Let's give it a little time before we go ahead and crown it. But I mean, it's the leader in the clubhouse. We can say that. I'm looking forward to that match. They have told an excellent story so far between the two of them, because that promo by MJF has made us forget the promo just 1 week before by CM Punk to set up the dog collar match.
Yep.
Where he says, will you be my Valentine? Of course, talking about Greg the Hammer Valentine,
Piper,
who had that infamous dog collar match against Roddy Piper.
Mm-hmm.
So, which that was a fantastic promo to me to help set the match up. So I'm looking forward to that match. I'll be watching Revolution on Sunday, and very intrigued in seeing how everything pans out with all of the matches that are on the card, and with that one in particular.
Spectacular. We're nearing the end of the show. I didn't even get to half of my notes because once I realized we were both watching NXT, I veered right off. So, you're welcome back anytime. We took our door off. We now have one of those turnstiles here, or a forbidden door off turnstiles. But I'm going to give you, yeah, there you go. I'm going to give you the mic now. You can put over anything you want. The links have been going out in the chat. But for those that like to listen to podcasts when we push them out there, let the people know where to find you. Let us know what's going on, and don't forget to tell us that it's okay to not be okay. The floor is yours.
But it's absolutely okay to not be okay, and it's okay to say that you're not okay. That's totally fine. If you are having problems, DM me. I'd love to talk to you. Thank you for having me on. I really appreciate it. Again, I'm truly sorry about last week, but I'm glad that we were able to just go ahead and roll back into it tonight. And I had a blast. I would love to come back on anytime. You can catch me on the Public Enemies podcast on Sunday night following Revolution. Getting on with the guys, talking about of course, the AEW pay-per-view and all things professional wrestling. Just having a whole lot of fun and laughs. We joke around with each other on Twitter all the time, as you can see, because they're buddies of mine. So it'll be cool to get on with those guys on Sunday evening. You can, of course, catch me on TikTok, all social media, even though you can basically call me the Dean now because of Serena Deeb. Thank you so much, Serena, for taking the Professor moniker and just claiming it as your own. I had it first. Why is this? What is happening? What just happened? I don't know.
Show's over.
Yeah, but they're replaying it. Are they replaying it?
Not where I am. Not on my network.
Maybe this is my TV. I don't know. Moving on. But yeah, you can catch me on TikTok and all social media at Mr. Professor 318. We are right on the cusp of 20,000 followers on Instagram, which is crazy. Just past 900,000 on TikTok and inching ever closer to 1 million, which again, crazy, insane.
Yeah.
Twitter is cool too. I have a lot of fun on there. That's where I'm most active these days. Just having a lot of fun and hanging out. Made a joke today. Rick Astley struggles with lint, which is just kind of
get it, Vanessa. He doesn't want to give it up.
Yeah, just so fun.
He doesn't like it.
But yeah. No, he's not good with it because he's never going to give anything up.
No.
But I'm so thankful to have come on. I'd love to come on again anytime. Thank you guys for having me, and for everybody who's watching, how I always end my lives is how the same way I end my podcast. If no one has told you today, you are loved, you are appreciated, you are important, you are more than enough exactly as you are, and always remember to be great. Now go support your local independent company and watch some good wrestling.
Awesome. Spectacular. Have yourself a wonderful night, and thanks for giving us your time.
Thank you, my man. I appreciate it. We'll see you guys soon.
Peace. Oh, phenomenal stuff.